You are listening to the IFH Podcast Network. For more amazing filmmaking and screenwriting podcasts, just go to ifhpodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show. We're on a time crunch, so let's get going. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I don't know. This is pretty good. This is Halloween week. This is my favorite week of the year, and it's really everybody's favorite week of the year because it's Halloween and also it's my birthday week, which should be a national holiday, but it's not. But I get to not only talk to Dustin Jacobs, the Dustin Jacobs. We also have the return of Oz Perkins to the show. So this is kind of like my birthday present for this year, which is pretty nice. So let's start with Dustin. Dustin, how are you doing? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Can't complain. I don't know if anybody out there watches baseball or not, but the game last night was very long, 18 innings. So I feel bad for East Coast folks that were watching that, but otherwise... Not too shabby.
I've never even heard of baseball, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a soccer fan, so that's one.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. But no, that's cool. Yeah, I heard it went like crazy late and people were falling asleep or whatever, more than usual at baseball.
It's okay. I play soccer in the background. It's like ASMR. It puts me to sleep, so I understand.
Very nice. Okay, cool. But yeah, Oz Perkins, how are you doing?
I'm great. I did my best to watch the game. I'm on the West Coast and tried to stay up with my kids to watch. I made it 15 innings and I'm in production on a movie, so it's irresponsible of me to watch an 18 innings.
I mean, it's 2 games. It's literally the span of 2 games in one. So, like I said, East Coast folks, I feel bad for you. That's like 3 a.m. Out here, it's almost midnight when it finally ended. But yeah, for anyone that's making a film,
good result. Still a good result.
Kudos to you. Yeah, good result for LA folks for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's it's all wrapped up. They're almost into the trophy room ready, right?
Yes, that's exactly what happens. They enter the trophy room when they win the World Series. They still have to win 2 more games to the Dodgers, but last night
never gonna happen. I guess that's it.
Well, I think they got a chance.
No, yeah, it's that baseball World Series means it's fall time, which I also enjoy. So I want to start off. We got a lot to talk about, but I mean when we left off, which was in February, which I can't believe, when we were talking about The Monkey was about to come out. It was the day of David Lynch's death, which is crazy. I can't believe it's almost been a full year. So Oz, what this year, it's been almost a crazy year for movies, especially horror movies. Was there anything that really stood out this year that you checked out, or have you been just way too busy to really watch too much stuff?
It's funny now that I do this so much, that is to say, make so many movies all the time. It's not so much a question of time; it's a question of sort of a lack of curiosity. It'd be like a doctor it'd be like a surgeon being like, you know what I'm going to do in my spare time is go down to the hospital and watch another surgeon cut open a guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because what happens is you get, it's not even jaded. It's just a little bit, it just seems like you're kind of piling on something that you don't need to pile on. I mean, there's excellent work being done all over the world all the time by so many people, obviously. And I it's not like I need to validate it or devalidate it or devalue it or something. It's just that I don't crave more of it. I saw this and I saw that, and sometimes I'm privy to seeing things sort of in the heat of the moment. I saw this what was it called? It was called Obsession. You probably heard about this movie that sold for
I've
a lot
heard
of
about it.
money
Yeah.
to Focus, I think, ended up winning that movie. And like, when there's a kind of a flurry of excitement around a movie and everyone's trying to buy it and so forth, like it trickles my way. Obsession's got some really great pieces in it. There's it's great to see something made for no money, sort of on the sly with like, no permits in Los Angeles and kind of just made with love. And it's pretty good. I really like that picture.
Do you feel like you're especially when you're shooting something, do you feel like you're getting too influenced by like a movie, or if you watch a bunch of stuff, you're like, this is going to enter my brain and it's going to come out somehow?
I think that what tends to happen is you kind of isolate the things that really look good and really kind of moments that work, and or I should say, I isolate moments that really work. I kind of leave the rest, and I think about why they are impactful and why I thought about them a second time. There's a couple bits and weapons that I was like, oh yeah, I thought about that bit multiple times after leaving the theater. I thought about the shot over Julia Garner when she's asleep in the car and the mom comes out of the house with the scissors. Like I thought about that a few times. I thought about this thing. I won't say more, but there's a thing with a brick in Obsession, which is quite good. And I thought about these things, and just it positions me to be like, okay, so that's sort of the state of the union, right? These are the bits that really work in contemporary pictures. And I need to know what that is, because that's what I do. I do the same thing these guys do. And so that's useful and that's inspiring, right? I try to glean some inspiration from those things.
Nice, yeah. Well, going back to talking about the monkey. After I watched the movie, I emailed you that just a quick review of it, and I'd mentioned that I lost both my parents, and that it's strange what hits you when grief.
Yeah.
I remember Aubrey Plaza said something about watching the movie The Gorge, and she said it was so strange and it has nothing to do with grief or death, but the metaphor of the depth of the chasm between these two people. She said it just hit me and I cried, and I was sitting there trying not to cry in the monkey, and I was like, oh my God, because it was real themes and stuff, and you were kind enough to answer and stuff, and I really appreciate that. Then it also seemed like you maybe were a little disappointed with the reaction of the monkey. Like how has that been since?
I think, yeah, that coming down off of anything like the long legs thing, you're on the one hand, you're tempted to kind of go again, and I got to chase the dragon, and I want to feel that
right.
that thing again. But it's like those of us who've been prescribed Adderall in our lives. It's like the first time you take Adderall, you're like, oh, the universe just cracked open, and I can see inside of everybody's eyeballs, and I know everything that ever needed to be known ever. That's what you feel. In the first week, right? That's how you feel the first week, and then you get down the line as a couple of years later, and you're kind of like saying to your doctor, like, what I really wish I felt like I could see through everybody's eyeballs again. And the guy's like, yeah, but you're never going to do that.
No,
it's sort of like that first time thing will never be repeated. So when Longlegs did its Longlegs thing, it was so shocking and so complete and such a change of life, right? That there was no way that anything was going to do that again. It's like Paul McCartney in his recent documentary. He's like, I knew that I was never going to do anything as good as the Beatles. It just wasn't there. There was never a question that I could.
Right.
So part of you wants to kind of be like, oh, let's go again. Let's make a bigger hit. And the other part of you is like, no, it is kind of now it is what it is. And so I kind of look, the monkey was a hit and the monkey was divisive. And I think at the end of the day, if half the people love what you do and half the people hate what you do, you're doing it right.
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's
50%.
Sort of the thing. And it's people like you, Chuck, and people like, I had a sort of a general Zoom meeting with a children's book author who I really loved his stuff. And he said the same thing you said. He and his siblings had taken care of their mom for years and years or something.
Mm-hmm.
She sort of died. I think she died like on I'm making this up, on a Monday. And on Friday, the three siblings went to go see the monkey. And he said he turned and he saw his sister during the priest giving the speech at babysitter Annie's funeral, and he said, "I swear to you, I've never seen someone laugh so hard. Like I've never seen a human being laughing as hard as my grief-stricken sister was laughing
Right.
over that bit." And he was like, "It was like you made the movie for us. It was like you had given us a movie." And if one person says that, and then you just said it, and lots of people have said it, then I did the thing 10 times more than I wanted to do it. Do you know what I mean? 100 times more than I wanted to do it. If it has that effect, I think I ultimately came down on it thinking, if you loved the movie, it's because you were open with your emotions. And if you didn't like the movie, it's because you went to a horror movie and you're like, just show me dead stuff.
Right.
Show
Right.
me blood and things dying, which is totally legit, by the way. But I think if you went into it, just show me blood and things dying, and all of a sudden your heartstrings are kind of like getting fucked with, I think people were a little bit turned off. They were like, this is not what I ordered. It's like you go into a restaurant, you order steak and they bring you chicken, you eat it, and you're like, this chicken was awesome, but you know what? It wasn't the steak I ordered.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit like that. And so I sort of made peace with it, but I'm super happy with how it went.
Well, Dustin, you bought the monkey and everything. Like, what were your thoughts on the film when you got to see it?
I mean, I thought it was fucking awesome. I went back, and I think we talked about this a little bit last time, about just Stephen King in general and all the stories that he's written, all the stories that have been adapted for the screen, and just how some of them don't really hit as hard as others. When you make that much, when you create that much, it's going to happen. And I read the monkey short story for the first time, and then I watched the film afterwards. And what you did with it, at least in my mind, was more satisfying than the story that I read. And obviously Stephen King is a fucking legend for a reason. So kudos to you there, specifically the ending, which I don't really want to give away. But the entire journey I felt was way more colorful in your film versus what we got in the Stephen King short. So that was my major reaction to it. Is it long legs? No, but I would hope a filmmaker would be able to bring more to the table than just the same story over and over again. You know what I mean? And it was different, and I think that's why it worked. If it were long legs, I don't think it would have worked as well. Also, the other thing I took away is you're actually in the monkey. And forgive me if I don't remember seeing you in long legs, but you're actually in the monkey. So this is probably just a more generic question. But what's it like directing oneself?
As an actor, I've always felt very like I'm a bad actor, like I'm a stupid, sucky actor. And I've always felt that. And that's probably more deeply psychological than we have time to get into today. But I've always felt sort of as an actor, in the limited experience that I had with it, just essentially sort of out of control, right? Just like not in control of my instrument, right? When you're an actor, you want to have some level of connection and mastery over yourself, over what you're doing. Some confidence that what you're doing on purpose to some degree. You know, you see something like One Battle After Another, and you see Sean Penn, who's always been the best actor, right? Ever since
in that movie.
Since he waltzed into Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and we were like, "Who's that?" Right? Never mind Phoebe Cates and all that, like, of course, but who is that? And he's always been that brilliant. And when you watch him in One Battle After Another, he's in such control over every muscle in his face. It's really insane. It's really insane. His walk and he's just he's in mastery of his person. And I never felt that, or anything close to that. But sort of directing yourself with your own dialogue is quite comfortable. And I kind of knew what I meant when I wrote it, and therefore knew how to do the thing. And so I felt very cozy. It was a very easy experience. We shot a lot of tape that day. The scene is much, 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 much longer, but it just gets sort of perverted and weird and like unnecessary. It's not the movie about Uncle Chip. You know, he's just passing through.
I mean, you could make a spin-off and, you know, those chops alone.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. The chops. I remember that vividly.
The origin of the chops. Right?
Yeah. I think you got something.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, yeah. I loved it. It was great. And I was even watching a Stephen King. It was like a Stephen King universe YouTube video about the extended Stephen King universe, and the monkeys popped up and they were talking about your film, and I was like, yeah, it's in there. It's in the extended multiverse of Stephen King adaptations and everything, and it's canon now. So it's
Yeah, and he liked it, like
yeah.
and that's great, and it's genuine. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like we sent the movie that I have coming out in November called Keeper. We sent it to a lot of to a few sort of important people. A lot of people you've seen them sort of amplify their thoughts on posters and in the trailer that Neon's put together with these really kind of impressive quotes from impressive people. I don't know quite where to put myself when I see these things, but we showed it to King too, and he's like, I don't get it.
Nope.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Don't like it. Don't want to make a quote. So it's like it wasn't. I kind of loved that. It was like the best news of the day when Stephen King came back and was like, Keeper, and I don't get it, because it meant to me that he really loved the monkey.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And I care much more that he loved the monkey than I care that he likes anything else.
I see.
Because it was made with real fondness for him and fondness for his contribution to the genre, or to the art form, or to art in history, right? His contribution to culture was what we were trying to honor, and if he felt honored, then I succeed.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Keeper, which is a good transition over to the film Keeper coming out in November. I understand from what I was reading that this film was shot while you were waiting on the Hollywood strikes, labor disputes.
Yeah.
It was in between, I guess.
Yeah, I came to Vancouver to do Longlegs and sort of found this beautiful alchemy with all the crew members and my now producing partner, and the city of Vancouver and the country of Canada, to be honest, and just felt very kind of great, right? Like it was such a great, Longlegs was such a great experience that we had this idea that we would just go right into the monkey. We had the script. Everyone loved it. We had Theo James, like we had the thing, and it was obvious that we were just going to keep going. Same people, same crew, same city. Let's go. And we couldn't, because the Writers Guild strike was in place and the actors strike was in place, and it was just we couldn't make those contracts work, even though it would have been okay. We could have gotten waivers and stuff that other people were doing. It just didn't. We couldn't for a number of reasons. And so instead of just kind of sitting it out, because there was that moment there where it looked like the strike was going to last forever. Remember? Like, the world is going to end before another movie gets written. And it was kind of horrifying. And, we so much now in the world and in politics and in sort of this kind of realm, the news is so out of our control and is so out of control that when we saw this Writers Guild strike thing evolving into this monster, it was like, oh, fuck, this is going to kill all of us. So instead of dying, what can we do instead of dying? What can we do instead of rolling over? And the idea was we should make a movie. And we should make a movie that's completely on the up and up, on the right side of the line in every possible way with the Guild, because I absolutely respect my Guild.
Yeah.
But as a director, the Directors Guild had settled a long time ago. Right? The Directors Guild was
that was first up. Yeah.
Do whatever you wanted as a director. So we kind of said we want to make a movie, and we reached out to Nick Lepard, who's a friend, a Canadian writer who's at the time not affiliated with the Guild, and he wrote a script. And as he was writing a script, we were looking for locations for this script. And as he was writing the script, and I was getting pages and getting outlines and talking to him, I was getting actors. And in this sort of cockamamie, sort of really makeshift plan that my producing partner Chris Ferguson and I had, I expected we were going to get losers. I just expected we were going to get movie of the week, kind of really histrionic bad actors. And all of a sudden, someone's like, "No, you can get Canadian actors who will work as Canadian union members. You could get Tatiana Maslany, And I was like, "Yeah, but she's like real good." She's like overwhelmingly good. She's like, I'm going to give her how good an actor she is. got on the phone with her. We had 40 pages of a script, guys. And I got on the phone with her, and I got on the phone with Ross of Sutherland, and I sort of said, this is what we're doing. We're trying our best. We're going to kind of figure this thing out as it goes. We're going to form it together. I love the people involved. How could it possibly go? We have no money. We have no time. And how could it possibly go wrong? And it just really, it reached them. And it was the right time and place for them to do this. And so, we did something for no money, on no time, with a script that was evolving at the fingertips of our screenwriter. And we put it together, and then then Longlegs hit, and then the monkey and all this, and then Neon and I became partners, and somewhere in there Neon was like, we really love what you did for no money. We'd love to sort of help it out a little bit. So here's a little bit more money, which is still, let me tell you guys, no money.
Right.
And we kind of finished it here and there. And again, it started as a labor of love, as they say, and then it evolved into like, no, we're fucking professionals here. We've just made The Monkey. We just made Longlegs. We finished these movies. Now we can finish Keeper in really great fashion. And we found a really kind of great movie that people seem to really like.
That's awesome. That kind of reminds me of what happened with Ty West with X and Pearl, and they were
keep going. If you have momentum is so hard.
Yeah.
To get, once you've got that lightning in a bottle, it's like you might as well shake it up and keep going.
Yeah, and then I enjoyed Pearl so much, and it just seemed like I don't know, like you were even talking about Tatiana, like it's just like an effortless acting. I like Mia Goth for the same reason. I think she's, I don't know, they're not similar in a way, I guess, but just their approach to acting or something. I don't know what it is, but just everything I've seen, especially Tatiana, and it's just like, God, she makes it look so easy.
She makes it look so easy. She's very playful, and she's very she's very playfully challenging, or challengingly playful. One of those combinations of things where where it's like, I think the kind of the gift, the chemistry that worked for us was, I tend to be a little, to be honest, guys, a little two-dimensional in my sort of projection of things. Like I write on a two-dimensional page. I think a lot about the image, which is ultimately two-dimensional. I'm a child of MTV. Like that, MTV is where I learned how to sort of do all this stuff, was MTV. So like I admit that I have sort of a two-dimensional quality. She comes and she's like, well, what if this two-dimensional thing is actually like a cube, and now you've got 6 sides on it? And if you just turn it this way, look. And if you just turn it this way, look. What if in this moment, Liz isn't scared, she's embarrassed. And you're like, huh, no shit. What if you turn it over here? Well, look, on this side, she says she thinks it's funny. And we kind of had this thing where we were able to kind of hold this cube, metaphorically, and turn it around at moments and think, is it more interesting if she feels like this and reacts this way? And it gets to the point towards the end of the movie where she's faced with kind of the reality of what we've been hiding. Kind of, it's this. And you'll see her reaction to it is so wonderful and uncanny and original and surprising. She did that every day, though. She's as good as they come.
That's great, Dustin. I don't know if maybe you would think this, but our friend Jessica Young, who's been in a bunch of our stuff now, has a similar approach where we would have read-throughs of like a script I wrote, and I mean, she was just pulling all this stuff out that I if somebody asked me in an interview, I'd say, yeah, I put that in there, but I didn't. that she was like, oh, this, that, like you were mentioning, like the cube stuff. She was doing the same thing to some of the scripts that I've written. I'm just like, where are you getting this from?
I think in my experience of making movies, at least, it seems like in the finished product, roughly half of it you did on purpose,
right?
And half of it is either a divine accident, something that someone else saw that you didn't see, which is why you make movies with other people, right?
Yeah,
which is why you do it as a team, and which is why to me, the director's principal job is to allow people to work, right? Like I don't know how Otto Preminger did it. It doesn't matter. I don't know how like the old timers did it, but you hear about Hitchcock, and it was sort of like initially like, oh, he would drive up in his limousine, roll the window down, check the shot, roll the window up, and drive off, right? And at the time you hear that, you're like, oh, what a dick! Like he doesn't care. Like what a pompous ass. He doesn't care. But no. He cares to let everybody else working on the movie do their job, right? He's not there to be like, you do this and you do that, and I know everything. It's no, just let them. And so letting people ultimately, in my experience, results in half of what your movie turns out to be.
Yeah, Dustin, as the director of the group here, or the duo, you and me,
the two of us, yeah.
Yeah, what would you agree with that, or like, what's your take on that?
Well, I don't believe in fascist dictatorships, if that's what you're asking. But
you better start, bro.
We're gonna clip that.
You want to keep what you got, you better start.
Yeah.
How do I get to Canada again? Basically my thought process is this. I think that a filmmaker, a director has to be willing to be more like a conductor.
Yep.
That's what you are. You have all the pieces in front of you. You have your orchestra, and they have to play.
Yep.
If they don't, you don't have anything. You're just some guy up there with a stick. That's it.
Yeah, it'd be like the orchestra. It'd be like the composer going over and being like, "Let me take that tuba. Let me show you how to do it."
Right.
The guy with the tuba really knows the tuba. Yeah, the conductor couldn't even touch it. It's true.
So that's sort of my philosophy on it, Chuck. To answer your question.
Oh well, great answer.
Oh, thank you.
Sophisticated as fuck, Dustin.
I'm gonna clip that too.
Yeah, that's gonna be your ringtone now.
Sophisticated as fuck.
Well, real quick, Rod, we're almost out of time.
I'm good for a little bit. I'm good for. We can take another 20. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't. Yeah, we don't want to mess up your next movie because
it's fine, Charles. I'm just making the biggest movie I've ever made.
No pressure at all.
Yeah, totally fine. Well, I was going to touch on the story of Keeper, but what I've enjoyed so far is I don't know what the fuck the story of Keeper is.
That was one of my key questions.
The trailers are just like, it's just like going into Weapons. I was like, I know I'm in for this movie because it looks weird, but I don't know what it's about. And I kind of feel like the same as with Keeper, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I think that we it's funny that it sort of, it's one of those things where it's like that way of treating the release of a movie has been sitting in front of us in plain sight for 100 years. And no one's really embraced it, right? Everyone up until recently has been like, in the first act, this happens. In a world of the first act, this happens.
Yeah.
And then this happens, but then this happens, and it's like, yep, great. And now, I don't know that it started with Longlegs, but I think Longlegs was obviously a very crystallized version of that. Where it's like, no, the movie's like this. If you like this sensation, you should probably go. You should probably, if you like how this thing here, this trailer feels, and you like how some of this kind of looks, and it makes you feel kind of tingly and it kind of excites you, why not go see it? Why, what do you got to lose? And, it used to be that if you were holding back, it's because your thing was bad. And now,
right.
Now it's like if you're holding back, it's because your thing is good. And that sort of, we flip that on its head, which is fun. So
I feel that with
I'm not going to tell you.
No, please don't. I feel like
clearly it's about relationships, though, right? Clearly that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's a him and her thing. It's a in this case a heterosexual relationship, which is in its best form a relationship, a romantic relationship, an intimate, vulnerable relationship is a scary deal. Like on a good day, right? Like those of us who are paying attention and have committed relationships with people, we're like, man, I hope they like me. I hope they actually mean what they say. I hope there's not some trick going on here. I hope I'm not being fooled. And I hope they don't think I'm dumb. I hope they think I'm pretty. I hope they think I'm hot. I hope they still want me. All these things are sort of dreadful propositions. And so it really is just it's the horror movie it's the horror movie version of God, I hope this relationship is okay. It's just that.
It's the trust. That's what it sounds like. That is scary.
Yeah. And there's like the monster of vulnerability and the monster of wanting it to be what you think it is. Right? God, I really hope this is real. I really hope this is what I think this thing is. And if something is the monster in Keeper, right? And there's a monster in every horror movie, right?
Sure.
If the monster is anything in this movie, it's being in a relationship and hoping that it is what you think it is.
Mm.
Yeah, that insecurity can hit you from anywhere. I mean, my wife and I have been married for 15 years now, and and it just, I don't know, just occasionally it's just like, are you sure about this?
Right. Are you sure about this? Am I sure about this? Right. Like,
yeah, right.
variations, all the variations, because it's matching two people up in a permanent way is a weird thing.
It feels like this would make a good double feature with Together, which is a great film from this year.
Together's a terrific movie. Together's very the sort of body horror version of that, and this is sort of more the, and people are throwing folk horror around a little bit. I suppose there's some flavor of folk horror, but I don't know that it lands there. That's kind of why we're not talking about it. We're not really showing it to a lot of people. We're just sort of letting it be its thing, because I don't know that you can sort of say it's this or that.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild movie, I must say.
Yeah, I guess there was some images from some of the trailers. I could see where that's coming from. That since people are extrapolating from the images of just like, they're just like, oh, it's got to be this or whatever. Which again, I'm just really glad that I don't know what it is, and I'm just gonna go. It was a similar experience with Sinners this year. That I when it started blowing up, I was like, I should definitely go see this. But I didn't watch a trailer or anything. I was like, Sinners. Oh, it's I heard there's vampires. Cool. I didn't know. I literally didn't know anything else. I didn't know Michael B. Jordan was in it. I didn't know anything. So I sat down with basically a church group, which was very interesting to watch Haley Steinfeld, whatever her name. What's her name?
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, right.
Drool into Michael B. Jordan's mouth, surrounded by people in church clothes. That was a very, very surreal experience.
They all loved it, by the way.
Yeah. Oh man. Good grief. But that's the kind of thing you just don't, I don't know, especially if you watch tons of movies, or if you like, us, or you're creating movies and you kind of see the Matrix most of the time. Like my wife likes to make fun of me. Like I watch a movie and she's like, everything's going on, right? I'm like, yeah, if I thought about it, I'm trying not to think about it. But if I thought about it, I could tell you what's going to happen in the rest of the movie. And it's just hard to find something that you just don't. You're out in the woods. You're just like, I don't know what's going on. This is great.
Yeah, it's so funny how you, like I said before, sort of when you're making a lot of things, and then you try to watch someone else's thing, and you just see then that you see through it, you see the strings, right? Like you see the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. He's still working the pedals. Like you pulled the curtain back, but he's still working the pedals and the switches. It's like in Nosferatu. There's a bit sort of approaching the third act where someone says, "Oh, and it's you got 3 nights left," and that piece of 3 nights before the thing happens. 3 on the calendar. There's 3 nights or something like this, and they say it on the back of someone's head. And I was like, man, they put that in. They didn't have that. They didn't have 3 nights thing. And they got to a certain point in the cutting and the testing of the movie, and they're like, we need a ticking clock. We need a thing that's going to propel the third act. We need to feel urgency. But make it a 3 nights thing. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I probably am wrong. They probably totally were deliberate about it. But in my jaded, craven mind, I was like, oh, they didn't have the 3 days thing. They put that in an additional dialogue recording. They did ADR to fix that. And it really does mess with you when you start, because you do get tired of doing the thing, and you do see the thing over and over again, and then it is, suspension of disbelief becomes increasingly difficult.
Yeah, I think that's what I liked most. I mean, when I first started watching your movies, I mean, I still think I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House is probably still my favorite of yours.
Oh,
Just
that's
because I
adorable.
remember the
That's
first time
adorable.
watching that going,
I appreciate you very much for saying that's adorable.
no, man, I seriously just watching it, just like, what the fuck? This is crazy. And the just the feeling of,
Yeah.
we were talking about feeling and stuff, of just like feeling it, just like, man, this, I got it almost like, I don't know, it's hard to, as a screenwriter, it's hard to convey in what's in your mind onto the page and then onto the movie. And it feels like there's only certain filmmakers I could feel like I could feel like what's inside your brain, and you're one of them. So it's, yeah, there's something, I don't know, something magical about it, I guess, just having that feeling of dread or whatever you're wanting to convey. I don't know, getting tone and feeling is very tough, I feel.
There's no keystroke for it.
Yeah, right.
There's no done button to press. And, I appreciate you guys not asking the question that a lot of people ask. How do you do it? How do you make your movie so dreadful? Like, I don't know. You work hard at it. You sculpt it. You shape it. You try not to look at it directly, and you try to make your script good. Like, you try to have the script be great. If the script's not great, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Does anyone know what to do at that point, though? That's the thing. Like, you can't polish the old turd, as they say.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, as they say. And if you get started on the wrong foot and you've got a bad script, it's pretty hard to do.
Dustin, what are your feelings on conveying tone and that sort of thing?
Well, I think that's kind of the secret sauce. And I think it has a lot to do with who the filmmaker is and what their visuals are for the film itself. Now, watching the trailer, which is what I did as a little cheat before we got into this conversation, there seems to be a lot of wides of the woods and maybe a slow zoom here and there. To me, that gives you setting, and it gives you like this, secluded sort of situation for these two characters. That automatically puts you in the zone of, okay, they're out there, they're on their own. If something happens, that could be bad. I mean, if you watch the first opening, and I'm going to go back to Stephen King again for a second, even though he didn't care for this film. If you watch the opening to The Shining, It's over before it starts. Yep. It's over before it starts. The credits are rolling upwards. Yep. That's how you end the film. Yep. You see the seclusion immediately. You obviously see that little yellow car driving around, and it's tiny by comparison of the landscape. You see a small island. The first thing you see is a small island in the middle of this lake. Everything is isolation. That's before the snow even starts. And the music, Dies Irae, Day of Judgment, God is Calling. It's at the very beginning of the film. Kubrick is telling you this shit is over before it starts.
Yep.
And that's how you can convey tone. But anyway, that's a diatribe.
No, it's true, and it remains that elusive thing. You just got to be good at it.
Yeah.
And can being good at it be taught? Like, I recently gave a talk to a college, and I said all these things about how to sort of think about it this way and think about it that way, and try this and try this, and I didn't say to their sweet innocent faces, and you got to be good at it. Like,
it's the secret sauce.
Yeah, if you're not good at it, then I'm sorry. It's like, you got to be good at it. Like, whether weapons is your thing or isn't your thing, or you're blown away by it or you're not. Like, Kreger's good at it. Like, he's good at that thing that he does. And that's the thing. That's the magic thing. That's the X factor. That's the magic. That's the pixie dust, or whatever you want to call it. But it always exists when something is special, and it can exist on a large scale. It can exist in embodied by Guillermo del Toro in something as huge and epic as Frankenstein, and it can exist in the young guy who did Obsession, the movie I mentioned before, for $4 in LA. Like, you're good at it, and it's nice. It's nice when you're good at it. It's sort of it's sort of a difficult thing to say because it sort of precludes a lot of people, but that's the thing. The Beatles were really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
All the pieces clicked.
Yeah. And you want to feel like somebody's in control of the car, of the, maybe it's a maniac driving, sure, but they're still in control. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre feels like a nutcase made that movie, but still in control. And that's why it
feels like a documentary. That's the other thing too about that film. Talk about tone. You're there. You are fucking there with those people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ghastly.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer because we know you're.
Yeah, actually, looking out the window of my office, I see my assistant and my driver.
Yeah, I got that feeling for some reason. I was like, he's
like, remember, there's a set with 400 people waiting to start.
I do have one final question, though, if I may. Of course. So I noticed, and I've never seen this before, and if this has happened, I apologize. I'm ignorant. I was looking at the new Bev schedule, and I couldn't help but notice you're there for 2 weeks, and that never happens.
Are you guys in LA?
I'm in LA, yes.
So like every once in a while on this crazy trip of mine, something will happen, and I'll feel genuinely moved. Like genuinely moved by something happening. You, Charles, telling me that you wanted to cry during the Monkey. My writer friend being like, my sister, I'd never seen her laugh so hard. Seeing the new Beverly do a double feature of Longlegs and the Monkey on one night and then play Keeper throughout the way they're doing it, showing a 35 millimeter print, is like emotional. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a hometown boy. When I was lonely and living in Los Angeles between this and that, and as life goes on, there was a time when I lived around the corner from it, and I used to walk there and just sit, right? Just sit there. I used to watch. I distinctly remember watching Desire Under the Elms, which is a very old movie of my dad's with Sophia Loren, and he's like 25. And sitting in the back of that theater before they fixed it up, before Tarantino bought it, it was just sort of a creaky porn theater. And watching my dad walk around in his 25-year-old body and thinking, gosh, what a trip. Nobody gets to watch their 25-year-old dad walking around. What a fucking trip. And then the next day going to see my 10-year-old son soccer practice and sitting at the same distance and watching him walk, and they had the same walk.
Oh, wow.
and they never crossed the paths on Earth. Never were alive at the same time, not even close. And there they were. And so the new Beverly was transformative for me in so many ways and was such a warm place for me to be in, had such a mystical, magical quality. To see that they're honoring the picture and the movies that I've made in the way that they are, it's really a lot, guys, in a really great way. So thanks for amplifying that. That was a big one. I've never seen him do that either, not unless it's a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing, and he owns the place, so I think this is pretty amazing.
No, it's great.
Very cool. All right, well, we'll let you go so your people don't yell at you. But Oz, it was always great talking to you.
Nobody else, me, bro.
Guys, I can't wait to see Keeper. Can't wait to see what you're working on now and whatever else you got. Well, I'll be there day one. So yeah, thanks again, and good luck with everything.
Hey, thanks very much. Just so you know, I'm currently making a movie called The Young People, which is present day American teenagers, and it's probably the most brutal movie I've ever made. So you have that.
Nice, perfect.
Will there be an ad at the end of Keeper, like Keeper was at the end of Monkey?
Ooh.
No, I don't think so. We just started. This is only our second week of shooting, so we still don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, guys. Always good to talk to you.
You
Same.
too. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Take care of yourselves.
Thanks for listening to Atlanta Film Chat. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. The show is produced by Tranquil Aggression Productions and Zombie Cat Productions. Your host is Chuck Thomas. Editing is by Joshua Goldkey. The soundtrack is by Michael Breezy Keys Jones. I am your humble announcer, Rob Scheimer. Remember, you are your own biggest fan. So go out, make your projects, and don't let anyone stop you.